Well, how are you?
I'm all right. Yeah, not too bad.
I'm
Not
gonna
too
ask,
bad.
I'm gonna ask you a couple of questions. Mine are, I've got a business question for Paul, which is what makes him do what he does, and the other one is what does he like the most about trading?
Nice. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, they sound like nice questions to me.
Yeah, he thinks they're going to be easy. They're not.
Now, I think everybody can hear us. Can everybody in the room? Everybody can. Right. So we better just curb our enthusiasm just for a little while.
No problem. I just thought I'd give you a quick heads up. No problem.
Yeah.
Talk to you
Yeah.
later.
That sounds good. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I didn't know that we were joined, but I think we are. Everybody looks like they're in the
I
room
think
now.
we are, even though it says a minute on the clock, and it's just like, oh well, they'll hear it later. But yeah, we'll have some fun.
Yeah, that sounds good. That sounds good. It's
Yeah.
meant to be. That's what this hour is going to be. So everything's going well. I hear with the thing that shimmers.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I do. I love it. She's just on a bit of a pullback at the moment, but that's okay. But
Yeah.
yeah, she saw 1883 before.
Yeah, Jerome Powell's helped out a bit, hasn't he?
Oh, you just keep pushing that US dollar down, and I'm just going, happy dance, happy dance. Yeah, so quite excited at the moment, and yeah, because I was loaded up from end of November, beginning of December, and it's been
You
going.
got 2 seconds.
Okay.
We're in. We're in. There's the man himself.
Hi, everybody. How are you all doing? Good to see you guys.
How you doing, buddy?
Mate, I'm good. How are you?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. I got the scaffolders in, ready to fix the roof for winter, so we're in good shape.
Mate, are you on a stool and sitting high, or is the camera a bit lower today?
Well, I might just. I've got a little. What these chairs called that go up and down? I've got one of those. Don't know. Not sure really. The camera should be in the same place. Let's try that. Right. Is that any better? There we go. I'm just. Sometimes I sit right back. That's what it is.
Mate, you're looking just fine. Mate, if you don't mind, I thought I might introduce the show. Today, I'm the trading expert on the show, and Ash will be interviewing me. We'll have various members of the team coming in to interview me, and you guys that are in the room will have the chance to interview me. Mile, keep an eye on the Facebook and the YouTube and post any questions from there, and that you can as well. Really looking forward to it. It was quite good fun last week with Ainsley talking about who better traders, men or women, and looking to enjoy the hour and answer your questions. Hey, everybody, and just really looking to enjoy the hour, answer your questions, and do everything we can to help you guys. Always interesting with this show that people tend to come a little bit late. It's nice to have you guys coming, and good to see you guys in at the moment. Nice to see you here. Good to see some familiar faces, and been looking forward to getting some questions from you guys. Look, before we do that, I'm going to have a quick look around the markets, and then we'll be handing over to Ash to sort of coordinate the whole thing, be he asking the questions or asking you guys if you want to answer the questions. Let me see if I can get this to share screen, and let's have a little bit of a look at what we've got here. And look, I think it's an interesting time in the market. It is, tell you what, it's hard to get rid of all these Zoom things and get them in the right place when you're doing this. Look, guys, interesting time. Yeah, as I said, we've talked a fair bit about some of these markets over the last few months, and I really enjoy doing the market analysis show each morning. I do on social media. I've been absent for the last couple of days from that, and I'm finished that for the year. Just too busy at the moment, trying to get ready for Christmas. So FTSE, look again. I think waiting for the Brexit announcements. We've seen a nice little range here, a little bit of a push up. Looks to be consolidating again. We talked about this move here, these two bars here, looking like they were setting up a range, and we are sitting inside that. And for mine, the FTSE is a bit of a wait and see while I wait for news on Brexit. The Nasdaq, we talked about this the other day, that we needed it to get back. It was slowly up and quickly down, and that's the pattern that I'm looking for. And talked about this level being really important. Once we got above it on a 4-hourly chart, that would have an opportunity to buy. And as we went through, you should have had that little opportunity there. Get in above there. Looks like we did. stop loss below, maybe below this one here, and into that move there. Should be well up if you did that. It was a pretty important place to get above these levels. For those that got in earlier, you might have gotten above this bar with a stop loss below. Either way, you'd be up a couple of % on that. And nice place to be in the Nasdaq, I think, and nice predictable move, really. Look, I'm really interested in US stock markets, and I haven't got them in place, but maybe when we get to Christmas, I might spend a bit of time having a look at this stuff. For me, stock market's got an automatic cutout on them at about 6% down, and I wouldn't mind having an order about 1.5% below price, a sell order, and a take profit at about 5.9% below price. And if the big down day comes, I wouldn't mind just picking it up on the way down and getting out on the same day. Even not getting out is okay. I think the day following would probably be a pretty good day. So I quite like the idea of having a sell order sitting below these markets, not close, maybe 2 times ATR, maybe take ATR 10, 12, maybe 21, ATR 21, and double that, put a stop any sell stop there, and just let it get put in. If there's a big move down, just get whacked in on the day and come out at the end of the day or start of the next day, depending on how that's going. US 500 again, S&P back up by taking out these highs. And again, we'll just be having that sort of 4-hourly break above the level here. And I'd be happy to get long above this and look for the move up. I'll also be happy to wait for a retest and see where I got a little retest of this level here. I think it's pretty likely if I did have another crack at this. So US stock markets remain pretty bullish, but not as bullish. We talked about this. We talked about when Bitcoin, look, I've been saying for weeks now, if you listen to my market analysis, that all through this pullback, that Bitcoin was going to go to 20,000, and 20,000 was going to make a decision, and it's made a decision, and it's out of town. Nearly 24,000. I wouldn't be surprised if Shukri's retired. That is a lovely move, and a little bit of pullback going on now. And but I think at this point, remember gold, it did go through its high and push up and then pull back. I wouldn't be surprised at some point to see a little retest of that 20,000 mark and then the next move. But Bitcoin remains a buy the dips for me. I wouldn't be buying the tops of that market, but if I could find a 4-hour dip, I'd be pretty much to get into that. And there'll be one going on right now, I guess, pretty slim. I'd like to see a bit more of a pullback to get in. I might put in a buy order above this bar here if I wanted to be in it. Hard to see on the back of this buying a large pullback at the moment. There's no fundamental change that's going to do that. Gold, where you can see a lot of these orders where Ainsley's got long on gold. Best I can work out, she's up 10% a day or something. That's ridiculous. We'll ask her a little later in the show what she's doing. But we talked about this as well, that, we were looking for, through this move here, we've got this lovely move, break of the 200-day moving average, the weekly pivot, the monthly pivot. We were long above monthly pivot, got the retest, even got a little close below. We talked on Sunday about the need for a pop down, and then by the first 4-hour bar that closes above monthly pivot. This one here. And if you brought it, you should be pretty happy by now. It should be well up here. Just take a little bit of a pullback here. Boy, it had a look, didn't it? Boy, it had a look. We have talked about this 1870 level being pretty important, and that we thought this 1900 level will get a look at some stage, possibly before Christmas. So it does look very bullish at the moment. I know that Ainsley has, again, that's one thing to know it's coming. It's another thing to get it right. And boy, she has got it right. If you're on that broadcast description, please, guys, let me say this right now. I had a look through the AW accounts yesterday, and there's more positions on gold with no stop losses than any other product we've ever had. Put some stop losses on gold so I can pay you out and top of your account if you get it wrong. No stop loss, no risk management, no go. So you do need to tidy that stuff up, please, guys. Oil, I was talking to Ping Nee today. Look, in the end, we've had really nothing consolidation. But overall, ever since we broke this range, it's such a common thing, right? Nice tight range, but very little happening. Pops down, false break short. And Julian talks about this pattern all the time when you talk to him. False break short, buys it comes back into the market, and off goes oil. And I did ask the guys last week if we thought we'd see a little test of $50 before the pullback. That looks pretty likely right now, I've got to say. And we have been talking about the fact that we think this is fundamentally the wrong move for oil. But everybody's buying the backdated futures contracts saying COVID will be gone, we'll be going back up. And because the backdated prices are pushing up, people are trying to find bargains on the front end. And really, there should be a lot of stuff priced into this front end, in my view, which hasn't been priced into it. And boy, I find it a bit tough because I'm long-term a bull on oil, but right now I think it should be coming down. And I remain out of the oil industry for some time. Cable, whoa, that looks like they're expecting a Brexit deal to me. Looks like they weren't. And all of a sudden, looks like they are expecting a Brexit deal. Ash might even update us a bit later on that and get some ideas on what he thinks about that. And look, for mine, I think, euro dollar, pound dollar, and euro pound are probably things for a little bit of care. And look, we talked about this as well, a fair chunk in the show, that a lot of people would trade the break of this triangle to the bottom, and if you did that, look, you might have got caught. But that I was going to trade the break of this bar here to the bottom. I like it. Everyone loves triangles or hates triangles. I like bars that set up ranges. And we've sat inside this bar and inside this bar. We had no close outside of this bar for a long time, and no close outside of this bar either. And I was looking for a break of that level there to get me into the short. Again, might have got pipped in by this thing here, but I probably would have been okay to get through and further down. Dollar Sing. That's been a good trade, hasn't it? If you can get short on that, boy. Some interesting stuff, and interesting for me just having a bit of a look at the charts. The suggestion that the dollar index might stop at 92 seems to be in trouble. Looks like 90 cents is on the way on the dollar index, and US dollar weakness looks like a pretty common theme. If you have a look at this all the way through, we'll go back the other way, US dollar falling, pound going up, US dollar falling, oil going up, US dollar falling because that's what it's valued in. Gold going up, US dollar falling because that's what it's valued in. Bitcoin going up, US dollar falling because that's what it's valued in. S&P 500 going up, US dollar falling because that's what it's valued in. NASDAQ going up, US dollar falling. The US dollar is taking a fair pounding at the moment. Interesting to see where that goes. Do you know what the dollar index is at, Ash?
Yeah, it's currently at 89.80. I mark it down at 89. I think we get to 89, then we see the turnaround.
Boy, you say that, but 92 is a big level and 90 is a big level. If it's pushed through those, it'd be interesting to see if it holds below 90 today. They are some pretty solid looking moves for mine. Look, if you're dollar short, I think you're looking for a pullback before you get into most of those products, mate. Look, I might leave a gold chart up. Why not? And mate, hand over to you. I'm in your hands, mate. We got as long as you want to ask me some questions and to answer those questions. And we're taking questions from the team who'll be coming into the room, and we're taking questions from the participants who'll be in the room. If you're on Facebook or YouTube, you can ask your questions, and we will take your questions from you as well.
Yeah, so please post your questions in the questions box. If there's any on YouTube, if you could put them in the questions box for me, that would be fantastic. But let me kick off with one, mate. I mean, it's been such a year of change, and I wanted to ask you. I've got a friend who told me once that he lost his job and he was going to start himself a new business. And the way he approached it was to wake up at the same time that he used to wake up when he had a job. He'd wear a suit, he'd get in his suit, so he'd dress exactly the same. He'd go down, make his sandwiches ready for lunch, and then he'd go back upstairs and sat at his desk because he worked from home, and have lunch at the same time. And that was the way that he made the change from the old system to the new system. So I wondered if you've actually taken on, have you done that? Have you sort of like tried to behave the same way in the day, or are you sort of enjoying the fact that you don't have to do that? You can get up in your tracksuit or your t-shirt and kind of just enjoy a little bit more of a relaxed way of living. How's it been for you,
mate? I've got to say I've been a little bit more relaxed. There's been a couple of things we've done recently where I thought, in the morning I thought to myself, I need to have a really good day today. And I did Noe in my New Opportunities Expo. I did that in my black pants and my shirt. And my fluffy warm slippers, but not quite the same as being on stage. And generally for me, I'm more likely to be in. Like at the moment, I'm wearing my shirt because I've got some see that on Zoom, and I'm wearing a pair of jeans and a pair of runners. So a bit in the middle for me, but. There are times when I do like to, what I'm like. I'm not often in a suit, even in Singapore. But every now and again, I like to sort of dress, a bit more formally to sort of remind myself that it is work and I need to do it properly.
Do you think it makes a difference? Because that's almost like one of those trading psychology things. Do you think it makes a difference starting out your day and wearing a specific item of clothing, or to dress in a specific style or in a specific way to the way people's headspace is?
Yeah, I think it might. I got the vest out the other day, and as you know, I only wear that vest on stage. It's just something I'm more comfortable on stage. So I can't remember what we were doing. I didn't put it on, but I had the vest out sitting next to me during the session. And I think it was something where I just felt like, I've really enjoyed presenting in that vest. And that's what I think it is. I've really enjoyed being on stage in that vest. We've done some really cool things together, had a lot of fun. And I remember that day thinking, gosh, I'm a bit flat. I really need to be a bit better. I might wear my vest. I didn't wear it, but I did have it with me the whole time. And it does remind me of some good times, and I think that association can be quite helpful,
Yeah. Well, take us back, mate. I mean, I think doing some digging about this stuff is really interesting, and I'm really interested in your kind of team philosophy and the way that you put a lot of emphasis, on a team, and just to kind of, just to understand where that started from, because that's quite a unique quality, I think.
Look, I played rugby when I was 4. And it's quite, I look back on it, it's quite bizarre. I think when I started playing at 4, I played in a club competition between other clubs around the North Shore of Auckland. And we decided we'd go and play rugby. And, I was 4 years old when I started. And I reckon that when we lost our first ever game, I think I might have been 11.
Right.
So I started playing rugby. We started winning all the time. It was really funny. I reckon, honestly, in the first 3 years, we won the championship for under 4s, under 5s, and under 6s. And in those 3 years, I didn't touch the ball or tackle anyone. I didn't do anything for the entire time. But my team had some stars, and they ran around, and we scored some tries, and we won. And so I think I've always enjoyed our team, and I think I've always, had this sort of thing about team and quite good success. Again, as you know, I played a lot of cricket growing up, and I think it really helped me as a human being because I was one of those guys. Again, my team's won a lot of championships, and in that time, I've just never been the star of any team. But I would just, I remember I don't know if I go to much cricket, but I go out to bat in the morning. We'd be losing, it'd be second day, and we're going to lose, and I'd go out there and block a couple of balls, and some bowler would, he'd have a chat, he'd sledge me and tell me I was crap, and I just sit up there and think, oh well, I wonder if you'll still be so chatty in 5 hours of bowling in the sun, buddy. And I would just bat all day and let the poor guy struggle in the sun all day long until he was shutting up and we'd drawn the game. And, I drew games for my team that won us championships. And again, I think it really helped me to understand my role, that I don't need to be the star. What I'm really good at is being the guy in the background that makes a difference and picks my moment and fights hard in those moments. It was cool for me.
Did you captain many of those teams?
Look, I didn't in the early days. I started captaining. I was coaching. I was playing into cricket, and I was playing with my mates. And really, this is how it all changed for me. I was playing into cricket with my mates, and my mates were pretty talented, and I wasn't. So we were playing in these sort of A grade comps and these centres, and we would win them. We would win all the comps, but I was the weakest player, and the other team would always sort of target me. And I just sort of fight through and be tough. And I love that stuff. And the guys had a lot of respect, but it was good fun. And one day all my mates got asked to play representative indoor cricket. And I didn't even go to the trial because I was crap, they all made it. And when they made the side, they asked me to coach them. And really, because I've been captaining them in the club stuff, I coached them in the representative stuff into regional. And I think it took us 4 months to be national champions.
So you'd say that actually it's the ability to be able to stand back and see the whole picture, which is what one of the aspects that kind of is a quality that allows you to coach and understand kind of people's psychology separately, but also as a unit, and that's what obviously they saw as well. So it's not that you were the most gifted on a personal level, but you understood team.
Yeah, and I was the least talented on an individual level. I played some cricket with some really good, and going through all my sport, I played some sport with some mega players, but I've always been crap at all of it. But I think I was, and I think one of the things with it, Ash, I've always had, and I came out of a very different childhood to most people. There was real poverty back there. There was a bit of violence back there. There was some really nasty stuff when I was growing up, and I think what it meant to me was that when I was coaching guys in big games, they'd be really nervous about it. And it's funny for me, I used to be really nervous before games. I used to hate waiting for games. But in that moment, in those games, I was really calm. And I was able to put it all in perspective because really for me, it wasn't quite the same as being at home and dealing with some of the stuff I had to deal with at home, which was perhaps a little bit tougher than most people did. And I mean, when I was doing this stuff, when everyone else was freaking out, I was able to be pretty calm and make good decisions and and get players in those teams to understand that we just had to stay calm. Same as trading, sport's exactly the same. Stay calm, execute, and it'll come right,
Yeah. Crystal's just made a really good point. ATW was the first course that she took, particularly because it was a team, and particularly not just one trader. So definitely placing more emphasis on the potential access to different traders and strategies is a really important aspect. And I think all of us would mirror that. The importance of the team and the knowledge and the wealth of knowledge that we all share. I'm going to bring somebody else in, mate. I've got some more questions. Go on.
Before you do, I'm going to jump on that for a second. First of all, Crystal, we wrapped about your new program, the Trading Buddies program, where you're going to put her up with, and we're going to find trading buddies, people in your program.
Yeah.
She's been wanting one for a little while, so she'll love that. But I think that's still the challenge, Ash, that, it's really hard in today's world. The team is really team, but the clients, we haven't really managed to mold them into team yet. And that's partly because, it takes one negative guy to get into a room of people and he poisons the room. We're a bit cautious about it. So how we can help the clients become more of a team and learn from each other and build from each other, that remains one of the challenges for us. Something we'll get better at. It's certainly on my list for the year ahead,
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, Jeff and I are going to be trying to enable that to happen for everybody as well. So we can actually put some traders together and help bond some relationships. So I do want to come back to some more questions, mate, but I want to bring the team in actually at this point. So I'm going to go to George first and then Ainsley. So if somebody could unmute George, I think he has a question. Or is it me to unmute George? I guess it might be me. I'm gonna unmute George. You there, George?
Yeah. Hi, how you doing? Can you hear me? Can you see me?
Yeah, we can hear you. We can see you fine, mate. How's things? Good?
I'm well, thanks, Ashman. Good to hear you. Hey, Paul, how you doing?
Hey, George, I'm doing good, mate. How are you? How's Joburg?
Joburg is pretty good, actually. We had a public holiday yesterday, and my family and I went out into the bush. So we've just driven back. So we're pretty fresh, very relaxed. It's absolutely beautiful.
Sounds nice, mate. Sounds really nice.
Great. Paul, I've got a few questions for you. There's 4 of them, but I'll just take them one at a time. I was looking at the charts you were taking us through here. How many markets do you trade in total? I mean, currencies, commodities, and indices. I don't know if you've counted them.
Look, I haven't counted them, but look, I don't talk a lot about some of this stuff, but I look at the market twice a day. I come in, my day starts about 7 in the morning. I look at the market at 11 o'clock in the morning, which is New Zealand open at the moment. I look at about 9 p.m. at night. And what I tend to do is I'll flick through some scanners and I'll flick through some charts. But really what I'm looking for is something that just looks obvious to me. What I'm looking for is, an uptrend price coming to a support level. I'm thinking, oh, well, it'll bounce from that. And just looking to trade that stuff that looks really clear to me. So it's not for me so much, I don't really mind what the chart is. What I'm looking for is a really clear pattern in that chart that means something to me. And I'm not talking about, head and shoulders. I'm looking at just a really simple, something that seems really obvious to me. Price from here is going to go to there. And if it is, sometimes I look at a chart and think price is going to keep falling, so I sell it. Sometimes I look at a chart and I think the price is going to bounce, so I buy it. And if it's really clear to me, I'm prepared to trade it. So I don't really mind how many charts I look at going through. I do a little bit. I stayed away from gold for years because it hurt me. When I was younger, gold hurt me one day. Boy, I got smashed on that learning mode. It happens to all of us, George. Anyone that goes on these shows and says they've never lost, don't listen to them. Everyone's lost. It's part of it, right? So I trade a little bit of gold. I trade a little bit of oil. I tend to look at indices more than trade them. I'm more interested in what they're doing than actually trading them. I'm interested in, Julian's got a Super 6, and I like to have a look at the indices, Bitcoin, gold. I also have a look at that stuff before I get into the market. But I'm not really looking to trade that stuff as such. I don't mind trading it, but it's really giving me more of a market overview.
I'll tell you what I was asking, and maybe it might help some of the call it new traders, if you like. I mean, do you recommend this volume of work or markets for a beginner, a new trader, whether it's 1 or 2 years, or does this come with experience?
Sorry, do I recommend what, George?
I mean, to look at this volume of markets, would you say, listen, George, you've just started, focus on 2 or 3, get to understand the market, or look at everything and try and apply the strategies? What would you recommend?
Look, I think when you're learning, you either need to have 1 and 2 strategies and multiple markets, or 1 and 2 markets and multiple strategies. I think either one of those is fine. I don't think it works to have multiple strategies, multiple markets. I think that just becomes a shambles really quickly for people. And really, when you're learning, if you had 1 or 2 strategies on 1 or 2 markets, that'd be a pretty good place to trade. But the truth is that people find that too boring, George, and it's hard to teach people. It's hard to get people to do things they don't want to do, So you've got to try and allow them to do things they want to do. And when people, we all did it, George, right? When we're starting, we want to trade everything in the world, right? We've all been there, right? So we understand it, but it's probably better for them to have, 1 or 2 strategies in multiple markets, or 1 or 2 markets and multiple strategies.
Right, excellent. This is, you probably know where I was going with this. My favorite question is on psychology and mental pressure. How do you deal with that? It's 2 separate questions. How do you deal with the mental pressures of managing the markets that you are managing? But at the same time, you're also leading a large global business. That's got its own challenges, which are independent of trading. How do you balance all of this and still be a family man and all of that stuff,
Look, I think one of the things, George, there's some interesting stuff in there. Look, I think that there's some things that happened when I was young that really shaped a lot of that stuff for me, right? So when I was about 7 or 8 years old, my dad bankrupt a business, and my family was genuinely poor. We were the last family of all our friends to get colour TV. I was watching black and white TV when everyone else was watching colour. We just didn't have the money for it, right? And I remember that the local supermarket used to do a pack of 20 lamb chops for $7.99, and that's what I lived off. We would buy, it's all we could afford to buy the lamb chops, and nowadays I go out to barbecues and everyone's having these lovely steaks and this and that and done that. And I'm still eating lamb chops because I had so many of them when we were poor. It's, I remember those days. And one thing I really remember is that growing up where I grew up was quite tough, but there were some really good moments in it. And being poor didn't mean that life sucked. There were some things that made life hard, but overall there was parts of life that were amazing when I was poor. And that being poor doesn't really scare me. If I lost it all again, I'd be heartbroken for my kids. I don't really want them to go through that. But really for me, I don't actually value the stuff that money brings a hell of a lot. It's not a super huge thing for me. If we had to live in a smaller house and clean less, I'd be fine with that, man. Cleaning this house is a pain in the ass. So I've sort of got that thing with the money, And my first ever job, I left school and I started working in the biggest bank in New Zealand. And my office, I walked through a security grill, and you would undo the vault. The big vault at the BNZ, the tumbler was this big. You'd undo it, you'd walk in, and I'd sit on the desk on the right-hand side, and any stage I wanted to, I could put my hand through the bars and touch $1 million. There was always $1 million in cash in the office next to me that I could always see. And if you don't tell anyone, but my boss, it was back in the days when things weren't quite so cool, and every day my boss would put his hand through and steal a note and take it home. And but I think at that stage, for a young person, I was sort of 17 years old, and there was just so much cash there. It just took away some of the value of money from me. And when I'm trading, I don't think that stuff impacts me as much as it impacts other people. I'm not scared of being broke. I don't have I respect money, but I don't have a huge respect for money. And I think when I'm trading, it doesn't get in my head as much as it gets into a lot of other people's heads. The truth is that if I couldn't trade, I'll go and get a job somewhere and make some money and be fine. I've always been able to get a job at a drop of a hat, or run another business, or do something. It's not the end of the world for me. So, and you're the same, George. You've always had that ability to find an interesting job and do something globally that's cool, So I don't think I feel the pressure the same way as other people do when I'm trading. And I've always had some pretty good rules. I think the team know that. I hate journaling. I hate record keeping. And it's my punishment for losing month. If I have a losing month, 3 months of that stuff is done perfectly. And I hate every second of it. But it does mean I've always got some safety nets below me when I'm trading. Actually, if I can stay on that, because it runs into the rest of your question. I don't spend too long on any one question, but one of the things I really believe, George, and I'd be interested in your thoughts on this, George, is that psychologically, knowing there's some money to come in and pay the rent every month makes trading a lot easier. And the trading education company doesn't make you a lot of money, but it makes enough money for a lot of the team You know, a lot of the team make enough money to know that if they have a bad month of trading, it's not the end of the world, you know. And look, I said this today, you know, that everyone talks about, you know, put your money in the trading account and compound it at 2% a month, 3%, 6%, whatever it is, right? And that sounds great. You know, do it for 10 years, you've got $1 billion. That sounds great, right? But actually, during those 10 years, you've got to pay your rent and eat.
Yeah.
How do you leave all your money in the trading account while you're paying your rent and eating, right? It's really nice to have another small income that comes in so you can leave trading money in trading accounts if you wanted, you know? So I guess these things all mount up. And look, running the business takes more time for me than trading. It doesn't make much money, but it takes a lot of time. But I also find that quite helpful. I'm a guy that, look, if you leave me in front of a computer for long enough during the day with a chart on it, I'll find a trade. And that's not a good place to be. So actually just, you know, having to go and deal with the team and do some work, it's quite a good distraction for my own way. And I have set this up to benefit a lot of people, but I've also set it up in a way that allows me the best possibility to be successful at what I do. And that does mean at times for me getting away from the charts. One of my weaknesses is at times, you know, I started off trading 1 minute charts and I just lived in front of the charts. It was a stupid lifestyle. But I don't want to go back there, and I sort of do these things to make sure I can't. You know?
Yeah.
Thank you very much, mate. Thanks, George. Good questions, buddy.
Thanks. Appreciate it, Ash.
Cheers,
yeah,
George. Nice to see you, mate.
Okay.
Yeah, really good. Oh, Ainsley's done it herself. She doesn't let anyone else take control. So
No, you're dead right there, buddy.
All right, Ainsley, then I will leave it to you, and you can ask Paul some questions. Anybody else that has got any questions for Paul, please post it in the questions box, and I will bring you on to Mike, any of the team, and anybody listening too.
First of all, Paul, what's this?
Yes.
I hear you're not journaling. Do you need a coach?
No, and honestly, Ainsley, I hate it. I really do. But it's one of those things that when you're losing, and it's one of those things that, you know, people ask about psychology, and what you've got to have is things below you to catch you as you're falling.
Yeah.
You know, if this happens, I'm going to do this. You've got to know what they are. You've got to be super clear, because at some stage, doesn't matter who you are, you're going to have that week or that month or that couple of months that just goes wrong, and it's gonna be tough. And you know, so yeah.
Yeah, if you don't journal, you don't know what has caused it in the first place. So, and you know, I'm a big person, and this is where we laugh at each other, because you're the big picture person and I love detail, and journaling is one of those things. So yeah, just know why you're having that fall. But I've got two questions for you, because I couldn't miss the opportunity. Haha. And one is, what makes you tick? What makes you do what you do? And I'll frame it to make it a little more specific apart from what makes you tick, which is you run a trading education business, you stump up the money, you show people how to trade, then you give them the money to trade, and then you say, you trade the way I do and I cover your losses. What on earth possessed you to do that? Because I go to a spreadsheet, and you put that kind of thing in a spreadsheet or a business model, and most people would just absolutely run the other way. What is it in your makeup that has propelled you to help people to get on board trading and direct them into doing what they do, and realizing, like some of us have, it, this isn't such a bad gig after all?
You know, I spent a year working at a trading company that didn't do those kind of things, and I saw the carnage. That irresponsible education causes. And look, some of the guys that wander around town criticizing us, I know what they're doing to people and how much damage they're doing, and it bothers me. And when Roy, back in those days, it's a long time ago now, Roy asked me to do trading education, I said to him at the time, I wasn't prepared to have people lose their money, and that no matter what we taught them, people are going to get things wrong when they're learning, and that I wasn't prepared to wear that. It was actually him that suggested we do what we do to make sure that wasn't possible. And you know, what was the question? What drives me?
Why do you want people to succeed? You've just touched on, basically you've been playing rugby since you were 4, and which meant that for every time we did an IFP over the Rugby World Cup, we had to go to the bar and watch whomever playing. That was fine. especially after Australian lost. I took no interest. But what makes you tick that you want people to succeed and benefit from this? What is it from this whole? And it's just not. And I can say this because you've mentored the trading team. You want people to succeed, and you put your money where your mouth is. But as a member of the senior training team, you want us all to succeed individually. If we're having a bad time, it's like, hey, what, you're straight on the phone. What's going on? What is it with you?
Oh, look, I think a lot of the stuff that's happened to me in my life's happened accidentally. None of it. I mean, Angie, you know me, right? There's no plan, right? I go along and stuff happens around me, And look, the first indoor cricket team I ever coached was a kids team, and they were Colts, and they were pretty rough. A few of them were sort of street kids, and they were a bit they weren't going anywhere in life. And there was 8 in that team, and a couple of people on the bench, maybe 10. And I reckon right now I might be in the bottom half of the income earners from them. And watching the kids get into sport and work, I was a prick of a coach. Boy, I worked them hard. If you coach like I used to coach these days, the team would walk out. I mean, having guys show up in my training was not unusual. I didn't care if they wanted to throw up and get off the court, throw up and get their asses back and start running again. We were tough. And these kids, they seem to get this desire to be more. And what I didn't understand, actually, one of their fathers was actually an amazing coach. He should have been an All Black coach. And he came to the session with us and he said something. He said, if you want to change your life, just pick one area and pick that area and make it better, and all the other areas will improve. Yeah. And what I hadn't realized was you coach these kids and you make them good cricketers. And we won 3 years. We won a lot of titles. And but when you do that with them, what happens is everything else in their life changes.
Yeah.
And they start and believe in themselves, and they start doing amazing things. And next thing you know, those guys are now literally all over the world, running companies and doing cool things. And I think that I think watching that happen, that really inspired me to want to see people. As a coach, watching someone do something they thought they could never do is an amazing thing to watch. You don't just watch them achieve the goal. You watch them literally grow as a human being. And, I find that stuff really rewarding. And, I don't think, look, at the end of the day, life for me has always been a bit of an adventure. Having those moments and seeing those things happen in people's lives, and then having the integrity to walk away and let them enjoy their success. I really enjoy that. It gives me a lot of private happiness, I think it's a really nice thing to be there when they need you and to move on when they don't. And I'm really lucky. We had the cricketers turn up for Noe. I think the reason that the cricketers turned up for Noe is I coached those guys 20 odd years ago, and it's the first thing I've ever asked from them. I would never ask them for anything. I've never tried to. I'm not interested in sharing any glory. They did that stuff, Yeah. So I love watching people develop, I guess, is why I do it.
Just as an aside, and I'm sure a lot of people don't know, that you've got a huge team working for you. And you, as you just said, you've been able to, the New Opportunities Expo a couple of weekends ago, you were able to ring up a pig farmer, a guy that runs a $500 million company, Mitron, and some cricketers. And we all, and there were about 20 speakers, and you were able to do that. And it was all done on a handshake deal. And you've got this team around you. There are no contracts. It's all a handshake deal. And I think that's testament to the community. And we've touched on it about team trading and the team that we're trying to generate for the new students coming through. That is something that you do and do well. And that comes through with your coaching, is the community that you've developed. So I can, and it's not just a fiscally motivated thing. It is who you are as a person. And I think there's a big difference between, especially where we both learned, where we had learned to trade initially, and to what you offer. And I think there's a big difference there. And the community is a very big part of that. And it's very important to all of us, which is why we all keep turning up. So I don't think a lot of people know the difference between the two, but yeah, that's huge. So that's
I really like that, Ainsley. I like having, again, as we get bigger, the truth is, and we're going to have some contracts and those kind of things. But
eventually.
I'm really of the opinion that you want people to stay because they want to stay, and that having someone bound to a contract so they have to stay is a bit crappy, really. If people don't want to stay, then you should bid them farewell and wish them well, and hope the way they're doing sorts out. And you do expect, and we have had an experience of this recently where someone's done some stuff that's probably not quite kosher, and that's a bit different. If people are going to leave, I'd really like to know about it, shake them on the hand, let them go. And that's life, and hope that they do well. And if you do that, then maybe in the future they come back. And when there's people do things that aren't quite so, quite what you expect of them, then they never get to come back. That's a different world, And I like the other world more where, you help them out, let them go and see if they come back,
Yeah. It's a very intriguing, I guess, given my business background, intriguing way of doing business because, we've touched on some of my business ventures and it's been a little bit different to what I've experienced and it's very different, but it's a great environment in which to work and prosper and watch gold keep pumping up, which we just love.
Okay. It's one of the things, Angie, I really like is, you bring someone like you into our organisation and really, without the reference of somebody like Julian, everything about it would scare the crap out of you. Because there's nothing that is the stuff that gives you normally that you use to feel comfortable and confident. Yeah. There's no agreements, there's no contract. Let's have a chat and a coffee and let's get on with it sort of thing. And because the people who bring people in have enough belief in us, the people coming in have enough belief in us, and it makes a different environment to work in.
Yeah. Second question, quickly, Ash, is what is it about trading you like the best? What is it about it that just has got you in and hooked? Because we all get hooked and we all get addicted.
I don't like trading. Do you like trading? Ash loves trading. He's brilliant. He loves trading. I don't like trading.
Hello, gold. I love trading.
You're not even going to sleep for a month, Pansy. How can you like that, right?
That's okay. Look what I put in the bag. That's good.
I enjoy trading and I enjoy the challenge. And look, again, you don't get to coach sports at international level because you're not competitive. And I enjoy the challenge and I enjoy the winning. But what I really like about trading is the ability to make an income and leverage my time.
Yeah.
That, I do get to do these things. I have literally got, a 1-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 6-month-old puppy who's lucky to be here, a wife, a company overseas. There's a lot goes on in my day. And part of that's because trading allows me to not spend too much time at it. And in fact, for me to trade better, and this isn't the same for everybody, I have to not spend too much time at it. The more time I spend at it, the more I get a bit loose with it. And then I'm better to come in and make my decisions and get out and turn it off.
Yeah. And that's what I started to learn as well. And I concur. You said you started on the 5-minute chart. I unfortunately was starting to learn on the 5-minute chart when I went to Julian, and as I kept saying, the look of disappointment on his face was just palpable. It was just like, woman, what are you doing? However, we move on. But to sum it all up, as you say, because I know Ash is ready to move on with the next one, there's a quote that I use from you, which is just one of those quotes that should be up there with a Jesse Livermore or Warren Buffett, which is, trading is simple, it's just not always easy.
Look, I think that's really true, Andy. And look, Andy, just want to check in with you. You started your MDA, you managed a discretionary account with Miles Capital yesterday, day before. How's it going?
Yes, we've got clients onboarding, which they should be. Look, to quote the vernacular, they should be bloody happy actually.
What's that account up in the first day, Ainsley?
It pulled, as you can see, it's pulled back a little bit, but went up 7%.
In the first day. And not only are we having a pretty good run, and we are having a pretty good run, the Sterling Fort thing wound up today, and it's had a bloody good last couple of months. The Miles Capital stuff's underway, and it's going really well. The MAMs that Shane's running in Bali, they're going really well. Actually, the whole thing's going pretty well, isn't it? And in a pretty interesting market. Look, I'll let you go, Ainsley. Thank you very much for the questions. Back to Ash. Let's move along, buddy.
Yeah, thanks, Ainsley. See you soon. Well, actually,
my channel icon's lighting up. I think there's a few questions coming in, Ash.
You got lots of questions, but before Ainsley goes, actually, just want to quickly ask you. This is for you, Paul. Last week you asked Ainsley if women were better traders than men. So I'm
Yes.
going to ask you, are men better traders than women?
No.
Well, you and I think so, right?
Why are we going there again?
Here's what I said last week.
The other night. For God's sake.
I think men are more consistent traders than women.
Oh.
Women. I think women are more consistent traders than men. I think women are more consistent traders than men.
What? Blowing up accounts?
All right.
Come on, mute the woman. Let's get back to trading.
Won't dwell on that question.
Thank you very much.
Why?
No, Ainsley, you missed the last bit. He said that women are more consistent than men.
You just lost that. I didn't hear it. Of course I didn't hear it. Why would I hear it?
You didn't hear that bit, yeah. He said women more consistent than men, which apparently is historically statistically true.
It's
So
I've got the stats.
You got the stats. Okay, well let's move on. We've got two Jeffs in the room, but I'm going to go to Jeff Oliver just to start with. I'll probably come to Jeff P later on. So let me bring you on, and you can ask Paul a question. Here you go, buddy. I'll start unmute you there.
Hello there.
Hi, mate.
Hi, guys. Paul, we've been working together now since almost the beginning. As you know, I'm a bit of a Luddite from the 20th century in the technology game. And I've been incredibly impressed by the way you built a fantastic social media based company up over the years. And I just wondered if you had any hints for people about how to build such an ethical social based thing of this size, whereas some people are just building presences. You've done it successfully.
Yeah, look, Jeff, it's one of those things. I don't really know how it happened. I'm really pleased with the way where we've gone. And look, I say this quite often that one of my jobs is to hold the vision. And I've always had the vision. I've always known what I wanted. And I worked at a place which wasn't what I wanted, so I knew what I didn't want it to be. And I remember thinking that the solutions to that guy's business were actually quite simple, and those solutions we put into practice. He needed to find some traders that could trade because he couldn't trade, and I knew that I wasn't able to. That no one person is the answer to everyone. That you need more people and more options to really, if you're really committed to look, the easiest thing in the world would be to have me trade, and that's my business. Gosh, that's a lot simpler than having all the people involved. But all the people are how you see legitimacy. Different people need different things, and look, I'm going to say the same thing I said a bit earlier, Jeff. I think that the answer to all that stuff is have a vision and stay calm and make good decisions. And at times that requires you to, have a break and walk away and think about what is a good decision. It's, the truth is that maybe I'm different than everyone else, but honestly, the naughty get rich quicks are the easiest decision every time, and they're always tempting and they're always wrong and they never get you anywhere. And just taking a breath and going, actually, that's not the business I want. I'm going over here, And this guy could turn up and he could sell $1 billion worth of crap, but it's crap, and I'm not selling it to my people. I guess, I built the company a little bit in the image of what I wanted as a client. If someone could have given me the chance when I was trading to learn from Ash, Ainsley, Julian, Leon. I guess I had a bit of a chance with Julian and Leon, but that was a bit later on. And the early Lloyd, Alexis, Paul Hutton, once every couple of weeks, I get to talk to you and Peter about trading software. And there's some amazing stuff comes out of those conversations. And, it's just have the vision, make good decisions, stay calm. Look, today might be a bad day, but there'll be worse days. Today might be a good day, but there'll be better days. Just move on.
That's lovely. The second question is about technology, really. I mean, that's changed a lot over the years, and we're now at the point where with fast feeds and all the technology that's available to retail traders that really never was in past years. How do you see that developing and mixing with the manual trading methods that are the mainstream at the moment for retail?
Look, I see automated trading as being really important, and look, I have my own belief that this reversion to the mean trading that I think most automated systems are doing is impacting trends. That the market isn't going out as far as it used to, and it's coming back because there's automated systems. Every time the market expands, they're taking standard deviations and trading back in. And I think that is impacting trends. But I think the thing for us is that as discretionary traders, we can see that and we can work out how to trade that. And I think we can change quicker than the technology. I think for retail traders, about having an open mind, seeing what the market's doing and accepting it and changing. I think there'll always be a place for retail traders. And in all honesty, I think they'll always, it's one of the things, you're one of the guys that does a lot of the optimizations and the back test. And I think as a retail trader, I should outperform any optimization or any back test because I should be able to make better decisions on the computer because I know what's in the way. I know not to trade in the monthly pivot, and these things should give me an edge over an automated back test that just fulfills a set of rules. I think discretion should help them, and I hope that's the case forever, and I think it will be. But some of the technology is pretty sharp. I'm going to go, Jeff, to finish on that. One of the things that Michael Bourne came in the other day on Noe, and he's the guy with the $500 million company, and he said, "Do what you're good at, and get other people to do the stuff you're not very good at," which is why I've got you and Peter. Because the technology really is a bit beyond me, but you guys sort of tell me enough so I sort of half understand it, and I let you guys deal with it because you guys are bloody good at it, and I'm not. So there's no point in pretending. You let people do the stuff they're good at, right?
You are, and that's great to do that. I'm also interested in the technology transfer as the technology moves more and more down to the actual user level, and people become more astute about applying technology to what they're doing as well. And that's always an interesting area of growth.
Yeah, look, I think it's one of those things, Jeff. There's going to be some, it's one of the things, right, that trading is one of those things that's always evolving. There's always a new thing and there's always something else to come along. And there's some amazing technology out there already. But where it'll be 20 or 30 years from now, it'll be crazy, right? And what I hope it never gets down to is for retail traders is what I don't want to see is the guy that's got the most money who can buy the best toy makes the most money. You want to have it so that retail traders, that technology gets those people in there. And look, it's great to have access to stuff we never used to have access to. And look, if they can find a way to get market depth on Forex easily on the MT4, be hugely beneficial. I'm hoping that at the end of the day that the human being is still more important than the technology.
I'm sure that's the case, especially with the ethical approach that's been taken by your company, which is a pleasure to be experienced rather than some of the other organizations that are out there. So I wish you guys well, and I'll leave somebody else for some more questions.
Cheers,
Thank
mate.
you, Jeff. Really poignant questions actually, and it does kind of bring home where we're going, not just where we've been. Trading is changing, and I think that ignoring the fact that we can embrace technology would be foolhardy. Now we've got a few questions in the room, mate. Do you want to do a quick fire one with these ones? I'll just ask you them.
Let's do a few. I'd love to hear some questions from the attendees. I think it's great to have the team and yourself, but I'd love to have some stuff from the attendees. We've got no time for today, Ash, so as long as you want to go on, I'm happy to go on and answer the questions.
Okay, well, we got one from Greg. Which is easier and also most fun to coach, cricket or netball?
Netball was more fun for me. I just did it because I went to, I was in Denmark and I met Sarah, who was running Denmark netball, and she said to me, "What can you do?" And I said, "Look, Sarah, I've run the sports centres in New Zealand. I've coached the sport over there." And I said, "Look, you just tell me whatever you need doing, and I'll just do that." I don't mind whether you need help with admin or planning or whatever it is, and I can do all of that stuff. I've done it all back home. And she said, coach the team. And she said, "Look, there are people in this club that want us to be, participants, but I want to win." And I said, "Okay, that sounds neat."
So that's really interesting, mate. Because I suspect you didn't have much of a background with netball before you were asked to coach the team. How do you coach something that you have less experience in than the people playing it?
Mate, I think that, one of the things that I always knew about it was, again, that in the moment on the day, that I'd be really good, that I'd say the right things and make the right decisions. When it counted under pressure, that I'd be okay. And that I knew enough about netball. And I coached one season of netball in New Zealand. I coached, there's a premier grade, I coached the next level down in New Zealand for a year. And I played, by the time I'd gone, I'm an over 50s national netball champion in New Zealand, a national indoor netball champion. I won an over 50s national championship in the sport indoors. It's a different game slightly, but I knew enough to know. But the real key to what you do, Ash, is you ring your mate in Scotland, who's amazing, and say, "Come over for the weekend, man, and help this team out a little bit." And he comes in and he teaches them the really cool stuff. And you nod your head a lot and go, "Look, that's quite cool."
Yeah.
There's no substitute for experts in anything you do.
Yeah. Okay, mate. This one's from Jira. Of all the strategies and markets you trade, which is the highest win consistency? I mean, I'm going to say, I'm going to answer that for you, mate. You probably check your P&L at the end of every month. You don't take a journal, so you probably don't really know exactly which is the highest consistency rate. Whichever works for you is always the answer to that, Jira. Yeah.
Okay. Look, I think the slingshot's the most high probability strategy that we run. I think traded well. Look, I remember Jeff and I traded that together for a period of time. And look, one of the things, I want to be really careful what I say here because it can sound really arrogant, and it's not meant to be really arrogant. When I found Orlando, he was somewhere else doing trade calls, and I followed his trade calls. And if I'm honest, his trade calls were average, but I think I lost 2 trades in 7 months trading his trade calls because I just didn't take the shit ones. And losing isn't about the strategy. It's about I'm really competitive. Ainsley, my gosh, I reckon me and Ainsley could have a game of ping pong and probably end up coming to blows. She is competitive, you know. And
I'm not competitive much.
My money might be on Ainsley for that.
I grew up with a ping pong table and I played netball. Watch it, Paul.
We'll have a club game. We'll have a team game of netball at some stage.
Absolutely, you're on.
The thing is, Jira, you know, the slingshot strategy is designed to get to break even and win really quickly. And traded well. I think Jeff and I traded that. I think at one stage I traded that about 6 months as well, without maybe taking a loser on it. But again, I wasn't doing what you guys are doing. I wasn't finding 5 or 6 trades a day. I was finding 5 or 6 trades a month. And if you do that, you change your winning percentage hugely. So I don't think it's really about the strategy. I think it's about the approach. And look, again, this stuff comes with experience. And again, I'm a really lucky guy, but I'm also a really calm guy. I think that really helps.
Yeah, I think that's true, mate. I really like this question. How much of a nightmare are new traders for you to manage? And the reason I like it is because you don't know these guys, so it's not just a case of sort of giving somebody money and just letting them go. There's got to be a lot of kind of thought and understanding of what you're doing. Every time that you do, because obviously you're kind of you're financing the whole thing, the whole process. So I think it's a really good question, kind of put into context and maybe thought on the kind of broader issue of that as well. How do you approach managing new people?
Look, I think it's one of those questions where, and I'm not going to invite her in because she is competitive and she'll take my show if I give her a chance. But if you asked Ainsley, she'd break it down to the details and she'd be very specific. Yeah, please, you're already very specific, right? But for me, one of the things is I'm the big picture guy. So for me, new traders aren't a big deal for me because really the truth is that an IFP these days, Ash teaches them, Alexis teaches them, I help, they come onto a mentorship pathway, Lloyd teaches them, Paul Hutton teaches them, and I sit right now I'm actually doing, I don't know how to explain it more than this, but I'm spending a lot of thought on the power of mentorship and how to make sure that the mentorship that I'm giving is really valuable to the people I deal with. So I kind of focus on, yep, I'm the guy that says this guy does this role, this role, this role. But I'm also the guy that goes, well, actually, I need to do my role really well. And I haven't done a mentoring session for a couple of months, but I just think how I can change that role to make it more impactful on the people that I'm working with. And with the new traders, look, new traders are neat in lots of ways. And yeah, look, one of the things is, 1 in 100 just does stupid things and blows up an account. And that's a bit frustrating. But again, there's lots of them that work really hard and deserve everything we can give them, and we do our best to help them out, So I don't find it too much of a nightmare. There's the odd one, there's the odd one, the one that's been trading for 3 weeks and turns up and tells me how to trade. I find that a little bit annoying at times, but, you just get on with it,
Yeah, it's quite rare though, isn't it?
It is. Most people are brilliant. We've been so lucky with the people that join our company.
Yeah, well, I want to ask a question on that in a little while, but I want to read this comment from Simon just because it kind of relates back to what Ainsley was saying and asking you. Solidly believe that trading was something that I would never be able to do, and because of you and your team, I now can, and that's amazeballs. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? That anybody can make this journey, and we don't kind of come to this, to present any program with the belief that what we're teaching isn't solid and useful information for people to actually make a career out of this. And I think it's really important to kind of to be confirmed with that, with that there are people that are successful, and it just goes to show that everybody just needs to give themselves enough time, because everybody really can do this. You just got to keep your head and continue to kind of follow the rules and instructions and education, and allow yourself to grow. So yeah, I think that's really nice, mate.
Yeah, I'm going to jump into that as well. Look, I've got to say this. Meeting Simon in Bali, he's, I just love having guys like him in the organisation. He's been brilliant. But at the end of the day, Simon, neither me nor my people are responsible for the fact that you can trade. You're responsible for the fact you can trade. You're another guy who I think has an ability to stay calm in big moments. And I think you've got some pretty interesting attitudes to money. I think these things really help. But at the end of the day, we provide, and responsibility sits with you. And good on you, mate. Full kudos to you. And it's not the easiest thing in the world to do. So full respect to you, mate, and well done. And mate, I've been watching your results recently, and I'm full of admiration for them. I really am.
Yeah, he's doing great. This one's a nice one as well. Paul Pouzon is asking, did gut feel work for you as a coach, and does it work with Forex trading? And I guess it's about how much intuition is part of where you are, and how much intuition did you kind of use when you were coaching as well? And actually, maybe it goes back to when you said you were coaching those young guys. Did your style change over the years because intuition played a bigger role, and you became better because of it, or was it always really structured?
No, look, I've always been really unstructured. I think intuition's always played a part for me, but I think sometimes what we think intuition is a bit interesting. Probably for me, intuition is subconscious knowledge. I'm not sure. I think it comes from airy, fairy gut stuff. I think quite often intuition is based on stuff that but you don't maybe know anymore. And look, I certainly was prepared. I had no hesitation to do what I thought would work in big situations, and to back my opinion. And I think, again, as a sports coach, look, it doesn't matter who you are going through that process. Every time you go to a higher level, it takes a little while to feel comfortable at that level. And you can't really succeed at that level until you're prepared to back yourself. You shouldn't be there if you're not going to back yourself. That's not what high-level coaches do. And I think it's one of the things about the market as well. At the end of the day, with due respect, I sit in a meeting most weeks with yourself, Ainsley, Julian, fantastic traders. But if all of you told me gold was going to go up and I thought gold was going to go down, I'm short.
Yep.
No, at the end of the day, as a trader, at the end of the day, you back your own opinion. And part of it is the ability to have the strength to actually, look, I'm not going to be reckless, and I'm not going against you because I want to be defiant. But if my genuine belief is it's going somewhere, that's where I'm trading it. And I'll back my opinion. I'll pay the price if I'm wrong. And I think that is part of one of the things that makes traders successful. At the end of the day, I think all of us are similar, where I truly value the time. I think the time we have talking trading with the team is amazing. And it gives you great insight, and it's cool, but you've also got to have your own opinion. Ray won't join that session because he doesn't want anything else in his head.
Yeah.
And I really respect that as well.
Yeah, I completely agree, because actually that there can be certain things that somebody says that it's one of those, at the end of it, you make a decision whether they've got a good argument, don't you? And then you say, actually, you know what, I still fancy it's not like you just close off everybody else's judgment. You just sort of make your own judgment by the end of all the information you've got, which is trading. That's what it's about. Now I've got two questions sort of around the same area.
I'm not a big believer in regrets. But every regret I have as a coach is not doing what I knew I should have done.
Yeah.
I've let people talk me out of stuff when I shouldn't have, and I should have just stayed strong and got what I wanted. And look, I think it's a really important part of life. And again, in the right way, not by being a prick, but I think sometimes if you've got an opinion, you need to back that opinion. And if that's intuition to you and that comes from the gut, well, so be it. But however it comes, I think it's really important.
Yeah. So I've got two questions on a similar thing. So we got Helen's asking what are the visions for the future, for ATW future, and Simon asking a new decade awaits us. What's the vision for the next few years? So same question there in one.
Look, it's one of those things, where you've got to say that the last year has seen us very, very quickly detour away from the path we were on, and we've had to make a lot of changes. And we've extended out mentorship pathways for every single person on the mentorship pathway since COVID hit. We've had to just go back and look. Our clients have been amazing, and the team's done an incredible job. But I don't think I'll decide on what's really next until I have a world that's suitable to do that in. there's no point in me planning on traveling all over the world and doing all kinds of stuff while I can't do it. So I'll think a lot about it at Christmas. But I think actually, if you want a theme for next year, it's let's have fewer trading experts and more trading winners. I am a bit concerned at the moment that we have so much knowledge that we create trading experts, and I'm not in the least bit interested in creating trading experts. It's not what I want. I want to trade people who make money from trading, and that'll continue to be the push. And look, you guys are seeing what Angie's doing at the moment. She's amazing, and having her around to sort of lead that push into let's just toughen up and make some money, I think it's a really good play. And I'm sorry, but if that's rough language, but that's really it. Let's just toughen up and get this stuff right and make some money. I really like that, and there may be a little bit of hard, tough love on the way through. But that's my vision right now. I just want more people making more money, and that's, that's what'll get me up in the morning for the next 12 months. I'm far more interested in that. I don't. Every now and again, the accountant sends me some accounts. I ask me to sign them, so I sign them. I don't even read them. I don't care. But what I do care about is whether we can do that.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Well, let's bring it back to the guys as well. I've got Jeff in the room now. I know Jeff was going to ask you a question. I don't know how risky they're going to be, but with the risk of it being risky, I'm going to bring him on. Oh, actually, Jeff's already on. You're already there, buddy.
Am I? There you go.
How you doing?
I'm going well, mate. Yourself?
Yeah, very good. Very good. What have you got?
Look, it's nice to be part of This Is Your Life, PB. And
mate, got a granddad.
Thanks for having me. Yeah, it is late at night. I must go to bed very, very shortly. I must admit. Look, mate, you and I sat down in a hotel in Sydney. That would be unusual, of course, that both of us would be frequenting a hotel. But I think the vision that you had at that time impressed me, and I guess that's why I'm still here, however many years later. What is it? 8 years? 9 years? 10 years?
Yeah.
It's getting on there somewhere.
Well, it's been a while, yeah.
But your plan then, and I guess this goes to pretty much the question that you were just asked, was to bring together talented, but more so people of integrity to go forward in the company, not necessarily to trade Forex, but I guess because that was common ground, that's where we were. But it's a little bit more than that. You were thinking, okay, let's open up different opportunities around the world. Let's open up different markets, etc., etc. How has that progressed in the company? And I know we're still very much focused on Forex, but there is certainly, I see, a branching out into different areas. And I think that was your focus in the first place. How has that developed? And I guess if you had to change something, what would that look like?
Yeah, mate. I think it's developed quite nicely. I had a chat with a stocks trader the night before last, and I spent a couple of hours with him looking at what he was doing, and it's exciting. I'm hoping to get him involved in some stuff that we're doing reasonably soon. But the issue for me around some of the other stuff is I can't make the accounts as safe. And it worries me a little bit. I don't like the notion of teaching people stuff and having them misuse it and lose a lot of their own money. So that's the sort of hurdle I have now to get over really around some of the other stuff. But yeah, look, and the Options Expo, we brought some people who traded options. Again, obviously, look, we've branched a little bit in the crypto. We've got some guys that do options. I think we've had talking to Julian recently, I think he's going to find a bit more time for us. He might do some future stuff for us. Ash can do a lot of that kind of stuff as well. I think we are ready to expand out a little bit. I think particularly commodities. A lot of our guys are trading commodities and trading them really well. And turning that into some form of knowledge pathway is going to be, I think that'll probably happen in the next 6 months to 2 years. So I'm really interested in doing that kind of stuff. I think, I don't want to be pigeonholed as an organization as one type. I do want us to do more things and to branch out. So I guess it's still there as a goal, Jeff. And look, if I remember that lunch, I think it was around Bondi, wasn't it?
It was. It was in Bondi, yeah.
And I was saying, Jeff and I, it's funny, really we've been trading together, in a trading room for years, and I remember meeting you, and I remember leaving that meeting and thinking, this is going to work. I'm going to run a trading company. We're going to trade some money together, and we're going to teach some people to trade. And I always remember that meeting as a particularly important moment in the whole journey. And you'd been through some interesting times in trading education as well. And Yeah, I thought that was really cool. And look, I don't go back and I don't go back too much and think about changing things. If I could change anything, I might bring a 3 a.m. curfew into Bali.
Some certain things seem to happen around about that time. I've noticed. Yes, it's true. And I have many people to thank for getting me back to my room, not least of Paul H. at some stage. Mate, there is a supplementary to that, I suppose. And moving on into 2021, and of course, God knows we got to get out of 2020. Praise the Lord. And I hope he doesn't strike me for saying that, but 2021 becomes, I guess, a question for me. And given that we spoke about it many, many years ago, I think maybe even 5, 6, 7 years ago, we were saying things like, wonder what happens when the US dollar is no longer the currency that rules the world. What do you think we'll be trading in 6 or 7 years? Things like, I don't know, cryptocurrencies, for instance. And that's kind of there now. It's on our doorstep. But in 2021, what do you think we'll be trading? Do you think we'll be trading, or where do you think we should deploy our capital? Should it be in stock market, which is at all-time highs? Should it be in, interest rates are at all-time lows? We can't put our money in the bank. Property over the last 12 months certainly has been a very, very interesting prospect. What's your thought process moving forward? Where do you think we should be divesting our capital in 2021?
It's a really complicated question, Jeff. And I think, from what I understand, bamboo is a good option. Planting some bamboo and making a few dollars, that looks like a pretty good option.
Well, I told you a few years ago that I was going to bury my money, and I did.
You were going, I'm going to let that go past. I didn't quite catch the last part of that. But look, as far as, I think one thing about it, have a financial planner and talk to the financial planner about where you put your money. As you know, I like quirky investments. I bought a pig on Noe. The sand mine in Brazil started producing glass 3 or 4 days ago. So that's going to work out okay. Got a little bit of money invested in Melbourne property. I kind of like that as well. And I like different things. And I think the key to all that kind of stuff is you should only put money into all of that stuff that you don't really know. In fact, one of the things I'm really loving is I'm trying to, and look, don't tell them, okay? Just don't tell them this, but I'm really trying to learn about different investments from working with people at Lloyd. So Lloyd, there's a few of us in the team that invest in that, and you in there as well, mate. We invest in this and we invest in that. And I'm not as interested in the investment as I am with working with different people who make the investments, see what I can learn from them. And, I've quite enjoyed diversifying out there. As you guys know, we've got a couple of villas in Bali. We lease and rent out an Airbnb. And with Shane, I like doing all that stuff, And I think you've got to find your own style. Actually, I'll give you a thought on this. You'll love, Jeff, because it really is you, right? That everybody is saying that the dollar printing, and I mean every country's dollar printing, will cause a devaluation of the dollar and inflation, and you need to be in commodities and property. And that makes complete and utter sense for me. But there has not been one time in my life where being on the same side as everybody else has been a good place to be, and it worries me. I think we might see a pop-up in commodities, we might see a pop-up in property, but I think that kind of stuff, the sentiment rate can change really, really quickly, and I'm a little bit uncomfortable with it. God, for God's sake, don't invest on. Please don't take this and invest on it. It's just a thought off the top of my head, I'm worried about it, Jeff. I really am. And so for me, look, we were looking at another property a couple of weeks ago, and I've probably gone off that. To be honest, I'm thinking about just putting a little bit into gold, a little bit into crypto, maybe a little more to the sand mine, and just diversifying it out a little bit. I'm happy to have some commodities, but I'm not ready to go all in. And to be fair, there's some really intelligent guys I know who are going all in. So, maybe it's just because I'm conservative, but I'm just not, I don't like it. I always remember when you could just go long the Swissy because it was never going to go below this level. And I remember the day that it did. And it was not a very cool day for a lot of people.
Yeah, we all remember that.
So I think whenever everybody's on one area, you've got to be worried. Everybody's getting on to play the inflation game. And apart from anything else, I think that's really worrying for the planet, because that means the wealthy, and I don't mean the super rich, I mean everybody who's wealthy and owns a property gets richer, and everybody who doesn't have a property just pays more money in rent. And I'm not sure the world can deal with that, and that might be where it all falls down.
Cheers, mate. Okay, that's the end of my questions. Ash, back to you. A little bit of investing, a little bit of trading, a little bit more trading, maybe.
Fantastic, mate. Okay.
Ash, can I something before we go on?
Yeah.
One of the questions that was asked, I've been thinking a bit about it, and what are we going to do as a business in 2021? Actually, when I thought about it, it's really clear to me. We're going to go back to doing what we were doing really well and get back to doing it really, really well. And when I believe we've done that, we'll move again and look into some other stuff. But I think it's really important when, after all the disruption of this year, that we just go back and look at our pathways and look at our plans and look at all the mentorship stuff and line it up and make sure we get it right and we get it the best possible learning experience that we possibly can. And we get everybody in the right position and we get people going through that pathway again, and we put some profitable traders out the top. And when we do that, we can start and evolve it and do different things. But I think we need to get back there to start with, get back to where we were pre-COVID and build from there. I don't think trying to build off the foundation of COVID is a very clever thing to do. I think you've got to go back and rebuild your foundations.
Yeah, I really like that, mate, because really what you're saying is that the foundations that we put in place just before this whole thing happened at the start of this year were really strong. And ultimately what would be great to do is improve on what was already, becoming a really, really strong education product, for everybody. Everybody was getting an amazing package as it was, but as you say, I think that there have been improvements made, almost because every trader's got better, but they're still kind of trading in similar ways, so they can just pass on even better information. So yeah, I'd agree with that. I think making the program better from ground zero is very difficult. So why not just kind of bounce from where we were, which was already very good. I think it was already a good standard. Okay, mate. Well, I think we should get pretty close to wrapping it up, but we've still got Lloyd in the room as well. Is Lloyd still in the room? Actually, Lloyd might have popped out the room. Okay, mate. I'm just going to ask you one more question. You and unless anybody else has got anything else, then please post it in the questions box, and we will get to that as well. You've really touched a lot on team. As we've kind of talked for the last hour and 15 minutes, we've talked a lot about team, and I'm really interested to know, what does trading look like without team? Because many people use trading for later in their life. Some people are putting it in place now for later in their life when maybe they can't work anymore or they don't want to work anymore, and they'll be trading effectively on their own. Are you going to be able to do that? I mean, it seems to me that the team is the thing that makes you tick, not trading. That's not what makes you tick. The fact that you traded cricket teams, netball teams, now a trading team. So are you going to be able to do that? When all is said and done, are you going to be able to kind of just go, okay, well, I'm going to now trade for a living and do this on my own?
Look, I don't think I'll ever choose that. There's Zoom and Skype, and I guess the question that Ash is really, am I coming home to live in New Zealand, and not travel anymore? And when I do that, and we've talked as a group a little bit about that recently, and about when that'll be and when that'll change for me. And look, when that is, I expect to stay in touch and still do that stuff, just not do the traveling. And look, at the moment, it's really easy for me. My wife does an amazing job. The kids are really happy, and traveling again, it'll be tough the first time away from the kids, for them and for me. It won't be easy, but I feel like my kids are well and happy and good kids, and that makes traveling pretty simple. If Jackson's disease ever came back, I'd be here, and I'd be here as long as I needed to be here. It would be a different world for me. And if something happens and I've got to be back in New Zealand, I'm happy back in New Zealand. But I don't think that just because I choose to come back to New Zealand, that'll be the end of contact with all people. I know we're a long way away, but we do have telephones and that kind of stuff down here.
Yeah. So you think actually, trading as a team is something that will go hand in hand?
Yeah, look, it's the end of the day, Ash. Yeah. Look, I don't think that trading alone, to be honest, I'll get more general here again. I think that, we're in a time in the world where there's some people going through some really tough stuff mentally, and that part of that's isolation. And I don't think isolating yourself is a really clever thing to do. I think it doesn't matter if you use all the supports around you, but you need to have a lot of supports around you. And I really like, I said, that sometimes if you guys all said to go long goal, I'm going to go short, go short. But I love the discussions. I love learning from you guys. And I don't know why I just stop. You know, if anything, in reality, if I stopped doing everything else and said, okay, well, trading is it, that would put far more pressure on my trading. And to walk away from the support at the same time would appear to me to be a really bad decision. I don't think I'd do it. And, I am pretty lucky because I can pick up a phone and it'll be answered by some interesting people. I'm lucky that they answer the phone, really. But I can't see me leaving, this kind of team environment.
Yeah.
Until I decide that, it's not that I'm trading alone, but I'm not trading at all. And even then, I'd like to think we still talk to each other.
I mean, it's the walking the talk, isn't it? In a way, I mean, that's really what we try and base a lot of the premise on, is that it is about community and it is about team, and the importance of it isn't just. We're not just saying it because it's a funky thing to say. We're saying it because actually, to all of us, it is very important to have each other around to bounce ideas off.
Yeah, I think the team. The team concepts, and that's just got better and better.
Yeah. Okay, mate. Well, I think we can wrap it up. Unless you can see anything else in there that you'd like to touch on, I think we've covered everything.
Mate, look, I tell you what, mate, we've got just a couple more minutes. If you've got any questions, we can wrap it up. Let's do the prize draw. And
yes.
Let's do the prize draw. If there's any questions, let's answer. If you've got any more questions, let me know, mate. I'm happy to stay. That's sort of one. Unfortunately, my wife's hurt her back today, so she's been to the docks all day, and I need to make sure I get some sleep because I'm taking the kids to daycare in the morning. I think I'll be up early again. So not forever, but I've got 10 more minutes. If you have any questions, Ash, anything else you want to ask me?
I think I've covered all mine, mate. I think I've covered all mine. I probably would find something in here. Oh, well, yeah, there was one other one. You have managed and coached cricket teams, but you've also owned businesses, sports businesses, right? In your past.
Yep.
And I'd kind of like to know, how do they work out? Were there any failures? Have you had any business failures on the way? How did those be? In fact, let us know on the whole how they worked out. But was there any specific one as well that was just a dog from the start and you should have never taken it on?
Yeah, there was one. I used to buy the cheapest sports centres in the northern part of New Zealand and renovate them and do them up and run them for a long period of time and eventually sell them. That's what I did before I was doing all this kind of stuff. And so that was indoor cricket, indoor netball. That's why when I was coaching indoor cricket, working in the industry seemed really, really cool. And the netball got me into playing indoor netball, which was really good for me back in those days. It kept me really active, and it was really good fun socially. And I loved the whole scene. And look, I've a bunch of small arena owners bought a centre together, and I was part of that. We bought a centre in a place called Papakura, and it was just too far. It was now from home. It was hard work. They were lovely people, but it was pretty rough out that way. And really, I'd have been better off. We sold it and we probably made a few bucks out of it, but we didn't achieve what we wanted to achieve. We didn't really make that centre pretty cool. And we made a lot of the other centres pretty cool, So there was one that was a bit difficult. I think the rest, while I was there, we didn't buy a sports centre and flip it a year later. It took a long time, but the centres I were in were really cool.
Brilliant. Okay, mate. Well, I mean, the only other one that leads on from that is that the trading team is full of people that can trade, but also people with a specific character trait. I think that's the way it appears to me. Anybody that everybody in the trading team I naturally like because they're good people. It's not because I love everybody. It's just that everybody I connect with everybody, every single person on the trading team in one way or another. Do you think you've ever got that wrong, bringing somebody in that maybe shouldn't have been brought in?
Yeah, I think I probably have. I think it's one of those things, Ash, where again, I think people look back and think it was a plan, but it wasn't really a plan. It was just stuff that unfolded in front of me, And look, I think that the reason the trading team are cool is because they've got a common objective. They love helping people, and the trading team. There's always people who want to join the trading team and get involved, and really we're quite careful about picking people I think are a good fit, and it's we've been really lucky to get a lot that are right, but sometimes people are there just to see how much money they can make, and I don't think that's a really helpful thing in the organisation, and So, I think we have got it wrong. I think, it's really important for me. In fact, the whole thing for me, it just exists around trust. If I trust everybody in the trading team, everything's going to be okay. And when stuff happens and I've got to question whether I really trust some of the people in the trading team, that's a problem. And it needs to, and stuff needs to be aired and needs to be finalised. And look, you guys know I'm a big softie, and everyone can do whatever they like, and I don't really care as long as everyone does the job. I'm pretty relaxed. But I think that also there's another part where if something happens in the team and it's not the right thing, where then I've got to turn up and not be a nice guy and get it dealt with. And that's that stuff's going on. It's just part of life. Sometimes you've got to move people along and stand up. It amazes me. When you're inside something, it's different to when you're outside looking in. And you always think the people outside know all this stuff, and they don't really. And the trading team's always got stuff going on in it. And I really enjoy it. And it can be quite challenging. Actually, you get someone in your team who's an awesome trader, got a brilliant record, done fantastic stuff, and they stop winning. And you've got to make decisions about not only how do you support them, because that's the time. Look, if you want to know how to create a great team, support people at the right times. Leave them alone when things are good and get there when they need help. And that's what I try and do, But there's far more reaching stuff, I'm in a company where if someone's an amazing trader and done incredible stuff and it's stopped working, well, I've got to decide whether we're prepared to sell it or not. Whether I'm prepared to say, well, actually, you can still do this and sell this because you'll come right and it'll be okay, and I believe that. Whether I've got to say, actually, for the protection of my people, right now I've got to stop this. And I always think that the clients know, because they'll email in and say, can you add this to the special? Can you do that? Can we have a combo with this and that? And normally I say yes. And when I say no, I always figure that they understand why. But quite often for me, it's just because right now is not the right time for that person's product to be in the mix, because right now they need to go away and focus on trading and getting it right and making money, and leave the education alone and leave selling stuff alone and get back to that part. And part of my job is deciding when people are just having a bad week or a bad month, and we can continue to offer their stuff and believe in it. And we've actually got to say, actually, right now, this can't go to our people, and it can't go to our people until we get it working again. And that stuff inside the team, because I'm trying to keep good relationships, I'm trying to keep the dynamic really well. And you've got that going on because every trader has a period like that in their lives, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, mate. Jay Kang, don't worry, buddy. I see you're a little bit concerned. I've seen two comments from you there, mate, but that will be dealt with. We are aware of that.
Mike, can you take that down for us, please? Can you take the message from Jai Tang down, and can you send it to James, please, and ask him to sort that out tomorrow? Yeah, the answer to your question is tomorrow. I'll get onto that for you tomorrow. I don't know why it hasn't been done. I will get on to you tomorrow. Imagine it's communication. Can you check your spam? Quite often these things we send and people don't get them. But and I'm not great with names, so I don't remember tomorrow who it was. But Mike, if you can copy and paste that into a Skype conversation with James, we can deal with it tomorrow. That would be great.
Great stuff, mate. All right. Well, Jeff and I've got a new show coming out in the new year, and we're going to give away a prize, aren't we? We're going to do a quick prize draw.
But we're going to do a quick prize draw, and what's the new show? You're going to tell them?
Yeah. Well, we've figured that the UK show seemed to draw more people, and I think maybe it's more of a convenient time for people. So we figured that maybe we should go back to UK time instead of the US show. This might be the wrong judgment, but that's the way it seems. Just from the numbers, it seemed that more people were around during the UK session. So we're going back to the UK session, but we are going to offer, and it'd be on Zoom as well. It'd be a free show, and you can also subscribe to Trade Calls and Trade Management, and we'll also be sending you some communication about the markets from there as well. So. You're welcome, Jay. Helen, I knew you'd like that. And Crystal, brilliant site. Okay, amazing. All right. We got the stamp of approval to go back to the UK. That's brilliant. So we're going to give out a prize draw, so you can effectively win a free month of the Trade Call, Trade Management, and Communications aspect of that. It is a Trading Buddies. It is a Trading Buddies show, effectively. So what we really want to do is try and get people together. That's our whole kind of premise. Try and get you guys with us and you guys with each other as well. So so there's an underlying thing that that Jeff and I have really benefited from, and we'd like to share that with you guys as well. So we're going to give out a free one. I think if you were to subscribe, it's a $50 package a month. So so it's a good prize, and you'll be starting with us in the new year.
Cheers, mate. I've just been reading through some of the comments and questions while you've been doing it, mate. Thanks everybody for all the stuff you put in. It's been really good fun. I've really enjoyed it. I don't really want to do this too often. I do want to have other people and be the host, but it's been great, guys. Thank you very much. So Mai's going to come on and we're going to do a draw. If you're in the room, she's going to put you in the draw, and they're going to win 1 month of your broadcast group, and that's a broadcast group which is going to be your trades, your trade management, contact with you about other stuff. It's pretty cool. It's going to be $49 a month, and the first month is going to be free for. Come on, Mai, give us a winner, please. Am I on that list? Why am I on that list? I can't see my name.
Here we go.
The first person to be in Ash and Jeff's UK show broadcast group is going to be. Oh, here we go. Melvin.
Melvin.
You've got to be in the room, Melvin. You've got to be in the room. Please let us know if you're in the room. We're going to give you 15 seconds to type. Yeah, there you go, mate. There you go.
Congratulations, buddy. Congratulations. We will do our utmost to give you the best possible quality product as well, and information.
Look, obviously with that Ash and Jeff coming out of the US session, going to the UK session, there'll be a bit of a readjustment of the social media shows. Information on that will come out in the new year. And thank you guys, everyone, for the questions and for joining us. Hope you've enjoyed it. As always, I hope there's some insight there for you that's of some help for you. Thanks, Ash, much appreciated. And thanks for the team for coming in and sharing the questions. It's much appreciated.
You are welcome, mate. You're welcome. You're welcome, guys. Jeff and I will be in the US show talking to that in around about 45 minutes. But yeah, for everyone else, have a great day and stay safe.
Thanks,
There's
Ash.
cheers, Andy. Thank you. There's no tea and hot sauce today. Orlando's having quite a lot of internet trouble with some weather in El Salvador, so he'll be back in the new year as well. We'll see you guys on Tuesday next week for the Christmas function. We'll have the team in. I wish you guys well. I'll have a few guys off mic as well. Join us. We're going to start a bit early, 6 o'clock next Tuesday. We're going to wind it up. The team need a break. It has been a long, long year. I'm looking forward to them having a decent break from this. Thank you, guys. Have a great night. See you later. Cheers.